WWE reportedly had a talk with Ronda Rousey after her big win at the 2022 Royal Rumble event. Ronda Rousey made her big return to WWE at Royal Rumble 2022. She was a surprise entrant in the Women's Battle Royal, and the former champion ultimately won the bout. Fans may have noticed that Rousey seemed a bit off during her appearance at the show. She didn't look happy to be there and didn't display much emotion after her remarkable victory. Likewise, on the Raw after Royal Rumble, Rousey cut a promo and it seemed like she wasn't too thrilled to stand in front of the WWE Universe. Rousey later appeared on the latest edition of Smackdown to pick Charlotte Flair as her WrestleMania opponent. And she was very receptive to fans this time around. Dave Meltzer of WR is now reporting that WWE had a talk with Rousey after her return, over her on-screen demeanor towards fans. "I believe that people were talking to her about Monday," said Meltzer. "Yeah, she acknowledged the fans. She was very bitter coming back, and I think that was not a good attitude to have. Especially since she is being portrayed as a babyface. People, when they saw her, it's like, oh my god, she's being a heel. No, that's just Ronda." Then they had to talk her out of, basically, going. These people are cheering you. You have to acknowledge them. Meltzer also noted that Ronda Rousey was bitter over fans turning on her during her first run. Rousey was a babyface heading into Survivor Series 2018, and she faced Charlotte Flair in an inter-brand match that night. Rousey was originally set to wrestle Becky Lynch, but WWE had to change its plans at the last moment when the man got hurt. Flair used a kendo stick on Rousey during the match, thus giving a DQ victory to the latter. Flair then brutally beat Rousey up, and fans cheered for the Queen all the while. As Rousey left for the back, fans in attendance loudly booed her, and she looked visibly upset. A report came out soon after the event, stating that Ronda Rousey was emotionally hurt due to fans turning on her. After her Royal Rumble win, Ronda Rousey appeared in a backstage interview and addressed the cheers that she received while in the ring. She made it clear that she wasn't going to fall for it this time around. Did you notice Rousey's strange conduct during her Royal Rumble appearance? What do you think would be the reaction of the live crowd when she meets Flair again at WrestleMania 38? Paul Heyman has picked SmackDown star Riddick Moss as a future main eventer. Riddick Moss spent 5 years with the NXT starting from 2014. He broke into the main roster the following year and is now aligned with Happy Corbin to form a fun-filled duo. The two athletes are now famous for exchanging bad jokes and laughing hysterically. Speaking on Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast, Paul Heyman, who has experience working with some huge names in Vince's promotion, said people are still unaware of Moss' potential and backed him to become a star. "Riddick Moss is going to be a star. I don't think anyone has a clue with just how capable he is. He's demonstrated that he can walk into any personality that he is assigned at the moment," stated Paul Heyman. Heyman further went on to say that there will be no stopping Moss in the future, when Riddick Moss has the emergence out of his shell and into his next incarnation, the same way the big dog elevated his game and evolved into the Tribal Chief. Riddick Moss' next iteration in WWE, there will be no stopping him. "He's a main eventer," he said. Drew McIntyre says he loves watching Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss as their most recent characters. McIntyre spoke to Sportskeeda Wrestling's Rick Aquino and said that Moss is fully committed to his craft. The former WWE champion also said the reaction to the duo's comedy acts are hilarious. "I'm excited that he has been given the opportunity now on the big stage to do something. And he's 100% committed to the part. Himself and Corbin are fully invested in the characters. That's why it works. The jokes are terrible, but their reactions to the jokes are hilarious. It's so over the top. I love it," said McIntyre. Madcap Moss is all set to face Drew McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. Former WWE champion and 2020 Royal Rumble winner Drew McIntyre is reportedly being groomed by WWE to face Roman Reigns. On the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that WWE is grooming the Scottish Warrior to face the Tribal Chief down the line. He mentioned that, for this reason, WWE will protect him heavily until he gets to Reigns. "They like him, and he's being groomed for Roman Reigns," said Meltzer. "It's down the line. So, the people who are groomed for Roman Reigns are going to be protected until they get to Roman Reigns." Meltzer further gave an update on Drew McIntyre's injury status, mentioning that he's still not 100% and is working on rehab. He added that McIntyre will most likely run through Madcap Moss at the Elimination Chamber and Happy Corbin at WrestleMania 38. "He's not 100%, said Meltzer. "He's going to do TVs. He's not going to do house shows for now. He's still working on rehab. It's not like he's fixed or anything. But, he is back on TV, which, he'll do the match with Moss in Saudi Arabia and probably wrestle Corbin at WrestleMania most likely, and I'm going to guess that he'll probably run through them." The Tribal Chief has defeated several legends during his historic 500-plus day run as the Universal Champion. This past week on Friday Night SmackDown, WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg returned and challenged him for the title. The match between the two has now been made official for WWE Elimination Chamber 2022. Reigns also has another major opponent to worry about. 2022 Royal Rumble winner Brock Lesnar has already announced that he'll be challenging Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 38. Do you want to see McIntyre face Reigns down the road? Sound off below. WWE legend Booker T has praised his fellow Hall of Famer Lita as she gears up to face Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch at the Elimination Chamber on set of February 19th in Saudi Arabia. Although she has made sporadic appearances in recent years, including competing in the 2022 Royal Rumble. Her last one-on-one match took place at Raw 1000 against Heath Slater, a no disqualification intergender match. Regarding her upcoming return, Booker T stated on the Hall of Fame podcast that given her history as well as the Saudi fans' love of the Attitude Era, the four-time WWE Women's Champion will have a career-defining moment at the Elimination Chamber event. I think she deserves it, Booker said. You say she taking somebody's spot. I don't think so, because I don't think anybody from a female perspective of this era is going to be as big as Lita in Saudi Arabia at this time right now. I don't think any of the females on the roster are as big as Lita is in Saudi Arabia in 2022. I could be wrong, but those fans over there, they want some old school. With a trailblazing and era-defining career already in place, could the Raw Women's Championship be a further accolade that the Extreme Diva could add to her resume? After confronting Becky Lynch last Monday on Raw, the Hall of Famer announced her championship match for Elimination Chamber. Now a week removed from confirming her matchup with Big Time Bex, Lita is to appear this Monday on Raw to discuss her upcoming title showdown with Lynch. As the road to WrestleMania picks up steam, dream matches like this will be more than enough to whet fans' appetites before the show of shows takes place. Who do you think will walk out of Elimination Chamber with the Raw Women's Championship? Let us know below. Paul Heyman has been in the industry long enough to be able to see the true potential of WWE superstars. For example, the special counsel lavished praise on Universal Champion Roman Reigns by saying that he will continue to improve in WWE. Heyman predicted that the champion will become a better version of himself every day moving forward. The mastermind of ECW has been at Roman Reigns' side ever since the latter switched to the tribal chief persona. Although their relationship hit a roadblock earlier this year, the two are back together, so the bloodline is at full strength again. Paul Heyman spoke to Corey Graves on After the Bell and discussed the potential of Roman Reigns. Heyman shared his belief that the head of the table continues to improve, and he'll be much better a year from now. You haven't seen the best of Roman Reigns yet, said Heyman. A year from now he will be far greater than Roman Reigns is today. That's his goal. Roman Reigns this Friday will be better than Roman Reigns last Friday. Roman Reigns next Friday, he will be able to look back at this Friday's appearance and say, wow, I can do that so much better. And he will. Reigns has been widely praised for his growth throughout his run as the tribal chief, so it's fascinating to imagine how he could continue to improve from here on out. The former Smackdown general manager also praised his former client, Brock Lesnar. Heyman stated that the Beast Incarnate is also evolving as a character on television. And like Reigns, he will only get better with time. I think you look at Brock Lesnar evolving as a persona on television, said Heyman. Here he comes down now as Captain Caveman fresh off the farm in Saskatchewan where he's a pure killer and butcher. He's evolving. He's gonna only be better. Brock Lesnar recently won the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match. He then chose to face Paul Heyman's current client, Roman Reigns, for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania.